Caucus meeting for May. Pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For those that may not have heard, Councilman Borders has a medical procedure tomorrow, and Councilwoman Corrigan is working tonight. So, all right, we have bids to open, do we not?
No,
Do it at the end?
no, when it comes to me, I'll do it.
Okay. Chief, do you have anything for us?
Just real quick, on the day of the Minnesota police officer trial, not trial, day that the verdict came in, I got phone calls from the mayor, from the president council, and from the head of the police committee, Mary Jo. And to a person, they asked, well, sorry, the mayor had came in. To a person, they asked if we needed anything, everything was okay, what was going on in the county. I want to thank you for your support, all three of you. I passed that on to the police officers. It means a lot to the guys. Thanks for keeping us in the picture.
I appreciate that.
On your head.
I got the news when I was beep on my phone that the verdict was coming in. I was surprised it was within 24 hours. And so, and I was, oh, I know there's a plan, but you know, I figured there'd be time. So I'm glad everything worked out and we didn't have anything. Do you have anything else for this today?
I don't have anything.
Okay. So any questions for the chief? Seeing none, you want to go next? All right,
Sure.
Mr. White.
Okay, so what we have a couple bids to open. They were actually already done because this was done through Penn Bid, which is an online
Okay.
process. So the first one I'm going to read out is the record of bids for the 2021 road program. 5 bidders came in.
Wow. That's
This is
good.
a really good number. Prices actually range from 88,000 to 133, so pretty big difference. So just to give you, it was AF Damon came in at the lowest bid at 88,247.50. Innovative Construction came in at 100,367.50. Gessler Construction, 119,158 even.
What was that? 119, what?
158.
Okay.
Berg Construction, BERG, 129,966.50. And Charlestown Paving, who has done quite a lot of work here, came in the highest, 133,727.90. So AF Damon actually did our work last year. They do a great job. The reasons a lot of times he is the lowest bidder is because he tries to piggyback on with Clifton and, you know, some of the road programs close by.
Right.
So he jumps from town to town to town.
So this goes to the who to review it, the engineering, to make sure and legal to have to look at this to make
The
sure.
engineers already have it.
Oh, they do?
It got submitted to them through the bid
How,
process.
tell me how this works as opposed to sitting here opening envelopes the way it was done in the past.
Penn Bid is an online
Okay.
bidding process.
All right.
So they had to be in by 4 o'clock this afternoon. So obviously my email came in at 4:16.
And then at that point, you had the information and it was open.
What happens is once they're open, I always give them to the engineer anyway.
Okay.
So he's a step ahead of us at this point. They
Right.
go directly to him.
But essentially at 4:15, when you got the email, all the bids were available.
He
to
opened
you.
it with that, yeah. I don't know what the process is for the engineers
Right.
under the end bid process. I mean, I don't know if he waits till 4 o'clock. Peter, I don't know if you know that. Or,
I mean, look, he's following the Penn Bid rules. So
Yeah, exactly.
it's fine. It's all.
Does it need
It's
to go,
legit.
do we need to have it go to legal or it's already been pre-approved?
That's- They'll check it.
This bidding, that Rose worked with the engineer.
Okay. So then we're gonna award this next week, so as long as the lowest responsible bidder meets the qualifications, which is likely.
Which is very likely. Okay.
And we also are getting 43,000 off of this because we've got Aqua money. Is that correct? Or is that in addition to this?
That would
88?
be in addition to
Okay,
what we were doing with that one. We were, if everyone doesn't know, we were piggybacking on Aqua's work on, what is that, Linden Ave? No,
Laurel,
Laurel down.
300 and 400 block
Yeah.
Laurel between
So they
Springfield
did
and
the
Linden.
Aqua work, and since we're gonna be doing road resurfacing, we piggybacked with them, and we actually got a pretty good price. The next one was 33 East Providence Road.
Yes.
Again, it was supposed to be through Penn bid. We only had one bid come in, which was ADU services,
Mhm.
except it didn't go through Penn bid, they dropped it off at the office.
Okay.
So I am not allowed to open this until we check the legality of it, whether it is appropriate to take one in the office.
Do you know why they didn't go through Penn?
I'm not
I've
sure.
heard of these guys before.
ADU is the ones who do our snow removal.
Okay.
They do all of our abatements.
So this is supposed to all be done online anymore. Is that what you're saying?
It is,
Right.
but they're also the only person who has put a bid in, so,
Yeah, so it's not like if we open it and accept it, somebody else can say, oh.
but I was told by the engineers to don't open it until JP, who is the engineer going close, just clarifies whether it's
Well, I would,
legitimate.
just for future reference for us, I mean, if it's online and somebody, you have 4 bidders online and somebody walks in and hands you the thing, is that going to be legal? I would
Well,
just
that's what
like
we're
to,
trying to check.
I would like to know that for future.
Yeah, and I will let everyone know that, but
And I
that's,
can work with them on it. I mean, certainly if we had had 4 bidders online and one person came in person, then there would be good cause to not take that bid. And
Right.
In this case, though, you can always, well, with one person coming in, I'll work with the engineers. I think we can get to where we can accept it. Obviously, don't have to accept it.
right,
But we don't know what it is. What is the timeline? The hope is that we can award it next week?
yes.
Okay.
As soon as I get an answer from
Okay.
JP,
Certainly,
Peter, I'll let you know, and
we'll have it all worked out.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, whatever the number is, it's a yes or no number.
Right. I got you.
So, okay,
Well, if the guy says it's going to cost us $500,000,
That would be
the
the yes
answer
or
is
no
no.
right.
Because our grant total was about 88,000 or something like that. Okay.
All right, so the next thing I have is we did get our liquid fuels money for this year,
Mhm.
105,108.32. Good news, we got a nice chunk of money
And
coming
there
in.
goes my report.
That's right. And it's already in the bank.
Is that about normal or is that high?
It's a little lower.
Last
We're in
year
the
was maybe
1-2.
108, 110.
Okay,
but
good.
Yeah.
We also got a couple grants. One of them is the multimodal transportation fund one, which is the LED streetlights and pole replacement. We were awarded the full amount of 154,791. So again, great news.
I thought that was going out, well, I had to sign some paperwork. I thought we were going out to advertise so that we had bid this month. I guess that was, I misunderstood.
We got the grant amount now. It would have to go out to bid.
Oh, I
That's
thought
what
we
you're
were,
asking.
no, I thought we were hustling to get it out for bid for this month. Not
No,
that
no.
I wanted it, I understood what was happening. Okay.
The other one was the Magnolia Avenue grant. We were seeking 153,110.50. They came back with a grant amount of 75,000 for that project. Its total cost of the project is 180,000, with the 15% match from the borough of 27,000. So roughly, for us to complete this project, we would have to come up with an additional 105,000. Now, just so everyone knows, this grant contract will go through June 30th, 2024. We don't have to make a decision this year. We can actually, if we want to,
We don't have to make a decision next
we
year.
don't even next year, but we can put money aside for this.
Right.
So I would recommend doing that. So we budget this over a 2-year period. So
Well, not only that, but if we ever see any of this $411,000 and know what it might be used for,
So
it
does
might be
we-
used for this project. Potentially.
exactly.
Oh, so that's good. When are we going out to bid for the LEDs? Is that going to be next month for the LED light
Let's talk to
project?
our engineer.
Okay,
I mean, that really just came in, Dan.
well,
You know, we're
I got-
excited, but came in April 23rd. So
I understand, I understand. Do I have to sign some documents tonight or anything? I thought I saw I had to sign something. Maybe we can do that after the meeting.
okay, here's a letter to council, and I'm reading it at Caucus because it's this public meeting. Dear Borough Council, TNT Demolition is working to remove a dilapidated shed from 119 Schisler Avenue. Due to the hazardous conditions and potential for further collapse, we would like to complete work as soon as possible. At this time, we have paid for the permit, but not for the fine, per Anthony Tartaglia. In our haste to get rid of the eyesore, we made the mistake of not obtaining a permit. That's where I'm going with this. Due to the error and oversight on our part, we would like to request a reduction and/or waiver of the fine portion. We would like to continue to help clean your borough and appreciate your help. Thanks for any consideration you give this matter. And this is from Chris Lamb, TNT Removal and Disposal LLC.
Who owns the property? Do you know?
No. But this is a big enough company where they know they need permits.
Okay, this isn't the homeowner request.
Not the homeowner, it is the contractor.
Right.
And it's standard practice when you get caught doing work without a permit, it's double fee
Right.
Yeah,
and or citation.
yeah, and you don't want to set any kind of precedent.
I agree 100%.
It's just, because then once you do it for this one, then, and that's the whole point of having the fine, right? You wanna
Exactly.
make sure people do it. Really,
This-
those places frown upon people doing stuff and then asking, forgiveness. Doesn't really work for me.
If this was a homeowner,
Yeah. right.
we just had a homeowner who got caught putting windows in. He's a contractor. This guy came up so apologetic, he had no idea he needed it for windows. That one, we can forget. He's gonna pay.
First offender.
Yeah,
He's a
exactly.
homeowner, he's a home.
But he's a homeowner.
Well, and in the
And
past,
he knows he's not putting a boiler in. He's not doing something where you know. you
in the
need it.
past, windows did not need to have a
Exactly,
permit
that's
if you
where I
were
was gonna
not
go with it.
enlarging, but because of the energy efficiency in the UCC now, that's why you can't put in a less efficient window, which almost no one would do, but that's the reason why there's a permit on that, to make sure it's done right.
Well, they're making sure they're not changing the size of the windows, the structure
Right.
also. Okay, now I also finally had the bill for 64 and 66 Albert Avenue for the lateral. So this is something I'm gonna work with Buddy on to get letters out to the homeowners. Both of these homeowners said that they had their laterals checked by an independent plumber, and both of them said that was the borough's responsibility. Once they say it's the borough's responsibility, we do go in and abate the situation here. We did camera the line. I'm sure ADU Services, there's plenty of pictures on this project. But both of the homeowners had broken laterals once they dug down to see them all. So the numbers are quite high, probably gonna get complaints on them. But we gave them the opportunity to get their own plumber, to take care of it themselves. Both of them said it wasn't theirs, it was the borough's.
What's the total? Can you tell us the total bill?
Certainly can. For one of them, it's 97.87, and for the other one, it's 89.87, and the difference in price is because one homeowner had more lateral issues on their personal property, and they asked the contractor at the time that they would fix it while they were there.
And
So
there
you're
was,
at 9,000 and 10,000 roughly.
and there was no damage to unlike Linden, South Linden, we didn't have any damage to our main.
No, the main was fine.
Because at South Linden, we ended up going three ways because not only were the laterals bad, but our main had a crack in it too.
And that was a little, by the way, I still haven't received any information from one of those homeowners.
Yeah.
So we're leaning her property at this point.
I know
Did
that,
call me, she tried, I know Joyce talked.
I
to her
know our
many
vice
times.
president spoke with her
And
directly.
so have I talked to her, she was nice as can be on the phone, she said she would work it out. That's probably 2 months ago, I still haven't had any payment, so. Peter, I'm suggesting at this point, we just lean it.
I have a question about both of those locations. I know that the curb had to be fixed at 64, 66 Albert, and it was, and I know that the street is that the final patch on those streets?
Most of the time, final restorations are done 3 and 4 at a time, just for cost reasons.
Right.
You don't want them to go out to do one at a time, because we're gonna,
I understand that.
homeowner's gonna pay for it.
Right.
So by him doing 3 and 4 at a time. it's a
That's
little
fine,
concern
but
about
that they're
price.
finished, the only other question I have is that normally we get a tar seal around the edge or not?
Did we have one on there, Joe?
Not that,
Actually, no, they will be sealed.
Okay.
okay,
Oh, you know what? He didn't do ours yet either.
No, they usually
So you hope you do them all at once.
okay, that's fine.
Because we had attached them in the borough lot by the same guy at the same time,
In the municipal lot?
in the municipal lot.
Wow. Okay,
Small patch, price was very good, actually. Dan, where are we? I know we talked about this for the last 2 months. What are the boosters doing about that sign?
it's gonna be cleaned, and then we're already looking at doing a replacement
I
for
mean,
it.
at this point, can we take it down, put it in the garage, let them fix it, paint it, do whatever they gotta do? It's gonna be 10 times easier to do it on a flat surface.
I will ask at this month's board meeting, if we don't get an answer, we can go ahead and do that.
Remove it?
Yep, I'll get you an answer.
Okay, and then the last one I have is.
That's the sign at Oak and
Yeah, the one you want to
Providence. as you
turn
go
around,
down.
we're not, it's pretty bad shape.
Yeah, it's-
Obviously, sun beating
The sun beat the
on one
heck out
side
of
of
it.
it.
How much did it cost to replace the sign at the museum for a couple of years?
I
ago?
think I already got a price for this, it's like 2,500,
Is that all? Because I think we paid $5 grand
We did.
originally for that.
we did.
Oh.
And the last thing I have is I have an application here for flag raising from Michael Roberts, 15 Ridley Avenue. He would like to put the flag up from 6/1 to 6/30. He's requesting the whole month. It is the LGBTQ. I guess that's what it's called. That's what the flag's called.
It's the same one from last year.
It is the
Last
same
year.
from last year. I think last year, just for refresh memory, it was up, I forget the date of the Supreme Court decision, but it was up essentially for about a week at the end of the month, from maybe the 23rd through the 30th. I know the ordinance says that it's only for 20, is it 24 or
So
48
yeah,
hours?
it says guest flags will normally be flown for 24 hours or less.
Right.
Unless the applicant asks for a longer time period and that period is approved by the Aldan Borough.
Does anybody have an opinion about? Go around the table. Who wants to start? Anybody?
I will. I'm
Go
not
ahead.
councilman, But so my opinion is no objection to the flag, obviously. Mine is the timeline.
Okay.
We created an ordinance for
Right.
24 hours.
Okay.
It would stop any controversy coming up from any particular group, one that longer than the other.
All right,
Just be consistent.
I'll go around. Councilman Conley, any thoughts?
I understand what John's saying about the controversy, but I don't know, it just seems like 24 hours.
What do you think about the idea of doing what we did last year, which essentially it was up for a week at the end of the
I
month?
think that's fair. I mean,
That would match what we did there before. This is the flag that got us into this ordinance situation. So,
Well, then why did we do the ordinance of 24 hours?
well, we discussed it. We made it available that we could extend a period of
Well,
time.
it's kind of a different thing if it's for like, Columbus Day versus like a month that is designated as a month. Like
Right.
there's different situations where people might want flags flown.
You have anything else, Carolyn?
I mean, I think, I don't know, we would be, I guess, after pick the week then, like the first week in June, or
Okay.
I don't know when.
Is there a particular week here? Or-
Well, I'm just thinking what happened last year was when he made the request, it was late. We didn't have any kind of a program. We ended up allowing it because we didn't have anything in the books. And that's why we have the ordinance that we came up with. And it went up. I can't remember the date of there was a Supreme Court decision that gave them additional rights. I believe it was like the 22nd of June. And then the flag went up the next day and it was up for a week and then it came down. I think actually July 1st in the morning is when it was taken down. So that would, all I'm saying is that would match what we did last week. And we do have the availability of going longer if we want to. I'm just giving the background as to what happened. Councilman Maiden.
Not unique, just this, I agree with that, it says the ordinance is 24 hours. What happens if we get another 29 requests?
Oh.
How do we give it every one of the week in June? We're gonna go after June. I
Okay,
mean, the
all right.
ordinance is set for.
Just to be clear, you could pick any time period you want for any flag. Again, this is, they call it government speech, so this is not a limited public forum
Right.
where you fly one flag for a week, fly some other flag for a week.
Mhm.
I'm sure people will request it.
Yeah,
But
I'm
I'm
just
just being
what
clear.
yeah, I mean, how do we then pick and choose? What-
And now is one day or 1 week more prominent than another? I don't know that. I guess that would be Michael Roberts. Question?
Well, there have been over the years, starting with President Clinton and going through even 1 year President Trump did it. They have actually declared, I don't know if there's been a particular day. I think they've declared it as a month of remembrance. So that's why he's requesting the entire month.
Sure.
Don't know what President Biden's going to do this year, but I presume he'll do the same. Even President Bush did it 2 of his 8 years. So I was surprised when I went through that. Council,
I
Well,
would say
no.
the first week, since the ordinance does say unless the resident requests a longer period,
all right.
so, since it's not, as Caroline said, it's not a day.
Okay, well, we can vote on it next week because the request is for the month of June, which is why we asked for it to be put in before our caucus meeting by a period of time so that we could discuss it and vote, because obviously if we waited, and that's what happened last year, it came up in June, and it was like too late.
I got skipped.
Mr. Mayor, do you have an opinion?
It went up June 23rd on a Tuesday. We
Okay.
took it down that Friday, I believe, at the end of the year. Of the week. My whole take on it is, yeah, this is, I have nothing against this at all. Put it off for the 24 hours. It's gonna turn into, people are gonna wanna have their different flags up there, and once one finds out, oh, it's flew for a week, I want this to fly for a week, I want this to fly for 2 weeks, just keep it uniform. This guy did bully us last year, or bullied me last year. That ain't gonna, and I'm just, let me go. I got bullied. I'm not getting into this again. I mean, I got physically bullied and abused. Now, if that was me, a 6'4" Italian, I would have been called every, I took it, whatever, I get it. Let's keep it to 24 hours, guys. If not, you're gonna open up a whole can of worms.
Mayor, I sympathize with you because I remember last year, and although he contacted a number of us, he was particularly agitated and went on social media against you.
I got
which was not-
letters.
which
I
was
got a
not
letter
good.
written to me in rainbow colored crayons.
Really?
Telling
That I
me to do
didn't
a
know
better
about.
job.
Okay.
Because I tried to just explain if we wanted to do, put this, I get that flag. What happens if somebody Italian, I want to put up my Italian flag.
Right.
Somebody wants to put up an NFL flag, and so on and so on and so on, just across the board. And
Right.
he
I remember that you took
got
a lot
crazy
of
with it.
abuse.
So I'm not gonna get, no,
All right, I got, your opinion is well noted. I will contact Councilwoman Corrigan and Border, see their opinion. We'll hold the vote next week as to what to do. And then they'll know
what specifically will the be?
whether to put it up or not, and then the length of time, if it's going to be 24 hours, or there's been a few people that, including myself, that think that the week, which is what we did last year, would be appropriate. Some people want to go earlier. We'll work it out. Maybe 24. I don't think anybody has a problem with the flag. Basically, the question is going to be, do we stick with the 24, or do we, since he requested longer, do we allow a longer period of time?
Yeah, I just didn't know how many votes there was gonna be. We're gonna go 1 week, we're gonna talk about a month, we have to go about 1 day.
Well, it could come up that somebody make a motion that they want to have it up for the whole month, and then it can be amended and voted down, or we could end up with whatever we settle on.
So at this point, it's a vote of yes, it's just the amount. of time.
I think the
Everyone
consensus
said
is,
yes.
the consensus is we're gonna put it up. The
Definitely
question
gonna
is
apply.
when and for how long, what date we pick or what week we pick, if we do it like we did last year, the first. So we'll work something out before next week, and we'll have a formal vote so that it's in the record books.
He has the ordinance, right? He
Yes.
has- Okay.
Yes, it was attached, actually. Okay, then the last thing I have, and partially this is for you, Caroline, about the igloos. I called again about them.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, understand when it rains, it pours is my first thing I read. So what does that tell you? Our truck cable broke, and we need to be fixed. It's now fixed. However, we only have one igloo available, and we're working on finding it. We have another location that has two, but honestly does not have the need for them both. I will get an ETA for you when they can drop them off. That's the last I heard.
And when was that?
That was on April 22nd.
Have they ever finalized what kind of, there's supposed to be an agreement that we signed, with
That's
some
right.
sort of a caveat, have they
She asked
finished
me
that
to
yet?
re-sign the acknowledgement of responsibility. And with that acknowledgement of responsibility, we needed a cap on that.
Right.
Because.
Yeah, well, I agree with you that these have been around for a while, they're not brand new ones, and they wanted us to repair it if there was a problem, but the question is, they didn't have a dollar figure for it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, if this one's been around for a while, and the truck cable broke, which means at some point it must have dropped one if the cable broke.
Yeah.
So where's our responsibility?
I understand, that's why we were hesitant
You're
about.
telling me right now that the cable broke.
John, is that a county?
It's a-
truck?
yeah.
County igloo? County
It's
truck?
all countywide, so.
Are there any other boroughs that are restricted to this single truck that has a cable? that broke?
I know, it can't be the only one they have in the whole town.
Well, probably what's happened, Steve, is over time, more and more went, I mean, we're lucky in one sense that we are under 5,000, so we're not mandated, everybody else is. And when it started, the county needed to do something, so these igloos were everywhere, but over time, more and more towns went to curbside, commingled. before it used to be, when it first started, everything had to be separate. You had to have newsprint, cardboard, clear glass, colored glass, aluminum. I remember Springfield had like 5 different things stacked. Then they went to commingled, which meant more people participated, but then you had trash going in there, which
Yeah,
made
would
sense.
again, I'm just thinking about if you drive by Springfield Municipal Building or
In the pa-
Ashton's Municipal Building. or
in-
something,
In the past,
They
yes,
have it.
Swarthmore has it.
Swarthmore has it.
Swarthmore has them because they not only do curbside, but they encourage their
Yeah.
people to,
Yeah.
because they actually make a little bit of money when they separate them. So they actually have because I've spoken about, they have aluminum collection. They have clear glass, colored glass, and they're not making a ton of money, but they make a little bit of money because it's already segregated when they turn it over as opposed to having to be separated. So, how are we
Is it right now?
doing? Have we got any kind of number from our people?
He's saying about 1.5 tons every time he picks it up.
Because I just sent you a thing when I was there dumping tonight.
I recall
It's full again.
it. Yeah, I
So,
know.
okay,
Yeah, I thought he was gonna get it today. I went
Okay.
by, but it'll probably be tomorrow.
maybe we end up staying with that and not bothering.
Well, we're certainly gonna get more in there than we will the e-blues.
Yep. Plus-
Definitely will that,
Plus, we were talking
It just-
about having something for the papers, which
Right.
would be a separate thing.
which would be a 4-yarder.
Yeah.
All right, so that brings me to the next point. Danny, you put the recycling dumpster needs to be moved closer to the other swim club. For safety reasons is why it's up there. We have the camera and the light going in on the, I think it's the 17th.
Well, the club is about to open and it's been requested. I think it could be at least moved a little bit further down because they're gonna have their trash cans out
17th.
outside there to, but they only put them out on trash day.
Right.
And then that gate's gonna be used a lot more right now.
What is that gate used for?
Chlorine deliveries.
Yep.
And other supplies that go in there and then they
So
have,
if we move it actually closer, it'll be actually even less in the way.
well, where it's at now is pretty good, except they have it pretty far out
Yeah,
from
it's
the
too
wall.
far away from the wall.
If they have it closer and maybe down a half a dozen spaces as opposed to all the way at the other end, I think that would be far enough away that people could, because I know the delivery trucks that come in for the chlorine need a lot of room to make a turn. They're not tractor trailers, but they're pretty big. So they have to make a turn and back. I think they make a turn and back in. And then they go in the gate and they have to run a hose into the pump room, which is at the other end. So all I'm saying is for logistical reasons,
Slide it back a little bit and
Maybe-
obviously close. I know it's gotta go closer. I
yeah,
saw
because they've
that.
been sticking it way.
We don't want people driving around it.
Yeah.
I get it.
And I also, I sent this to you and Caroline, I think we need to go back, because the restrictive signs leaving onto Maryland Avenue are still there, they're inside the club. I think we need to go back to stopping people from coming down or
Okay,
north
well,
down.
that's my next point. So
And let
You're
people
gonna
know
lose-
they have to do a loop. And anytime I've been there and seen people come in, I've never seen anybody come in off of North Elm. They all come in off of Maryland, which is what they
So
were.
then why are we worried about it? Anybody have a problem coming up Schistler today? Because this street is tighter than Elm.
What I'm saying is there's a house there where people park in the car.
1 or 2 cars.
And there,
tops, Dan.
it's always been, they don't want traffic coming in and going out with, again, the pool season started, there's gonna be a lot more traffic in there from people that are swimming. And I'll let people know they're planning on opening. They've got enough members. I talked to them today to make it through the whole season. So what they have is a loop. People come in and they go out. And that's what the members know. They don't want the traffic coming in and out of that gate. And it makes sense to me to put the signs back up to make it so that everybody does a loop around. Because that's the way it's always been, and I think that for safety reasons, it's the best thing to do.
I
It's
think-
a
okay.
little
Look,
tight there.
It's
It
not,
need-
it's no tighter than what you just came up the street.
I understand,
It has
but
nothing to do with tightness. And the visibility is very clear.
it's a
as
very,
visible as Schistler.
it's a very short block. You can maybe
That's right,
stack
it's
three,
very short, you can see it.
you
You're right.
could maybe stack 3 cars if people are trying to get in and out and
Look, obviously Dave wants it up, but this is where we're going.
no, he
We'll
asked
put it
about
up.
it, but I've looked at it and I agree with that situation.
It's actually gonna stop residents from recycling because most of the town does go in that way because most of the town is coming from that way. People are not gonna go around, you think they're going to, well, tell me, I'll put the sign up.
Well,
Is the sign going back on the dumpster itself, or we're no longer? I was over there, there was no sign.
It's actually now, it's in the garage, was on the ground, Jim Quinn picked it up, put it in the garage, so we didn't lose it.
I think in the windstorm, the strap, recently the straps broke that were holding.
I think
it
part of the problem is they're using the same dumpster over and over, they probably take it away. When he picks it up to put it on his truck, the strings probably get broken.
So the main entrance is Maryland, you come up and around, you come in.
Yeah,
So you want to make it two ways going up the,
well, it already is now.
No, in Maryland,
We
if you're
took
in the
do not
park,
enter signs
it's-
down for.
no, I'm saying up Maryland, when you come in and you go long down there. I always thought that was one way getting in the pool that way.
it is marked as such. If you come out, if you look around when you get into the built there and turn around, the sign on both sides says do not enter to go back out onto Maryland Avenue. That
Yeah.
is very narrow. It's really only
I
one
agree.
car wide.
That one also should have the blacktop marked with arrows.
Yeah,
to let
it
you
was
know to
one
go
way to
one
go
way.
in, I thought.
I agree 100% with
And
that.
then you would
Because
go
that
out,
is narrow.
then you would go out by the house, up by the,
Yes,
Correct.
but we took the do not enter signs off of the,
so people can come in both ways up that
for
side.
recycling.
In Maryland, yeah.
Right.
Can't you make it one way for
I'll do whatever you guys want me to do.
can't you, what do you want? You don't want to have people coming in both ways that way with the pool?
Yeah, because the traffic's gonna pick up and the pool people have always done, you
Well,
come in
look.
off of Maryland and you go out because it's a little bit wider, but the resident there has a smaller driveway and they park their cars. They have one in the driveway and they have usually one, maybe two on the street there.
What happens if you just do it for a pool season?
Well, that's what I'm suggesting that we do it for the pool season.
And I think we should have the pool people put arrows in the,
I will talk to them about, they're in the process of painting the handicap zone. I'll ask them about.
the one on the hill, that's fine.
So, all right. I think it would be better to put those signs back up and have them do arrows.
It's at the top of the hill, the handicap spot. Yeah,
It's not a very, there's almost no flat space in that entire parking lot, as you well know.
it's not ADA compliant with anything. That's all I have.
All right, so if we would do that, I would be appreciated, and I'll have them paint arrows on the entrance and exits on the ground, so people realize in here, out that way. That makes sense to me. Good, that's all. Any other questions for the borough manager?
Sorry, I took up.
That's, no, I knew it was gonna be long with the bids. I thought we would have another one. Talk about that. Okay. We'll start and go around. Carolyn.
Sure. We got the resident recycling committee meeting, week from
Oh, really?
tomorrow. I guess a question about if any documents like old contracts and bids to share with people, or if that's kind of, I don't know if it counts as proprietary or whatever.
I'm sorry.
Like old contracts and bids for like, to kind of explain what the situation was that we had. Is that something- Yeah, exactly. To show people if that's something that we can,
Contracts were,
so the recycling, old recycling contracts. and-
oh, yeah, I have those.
Okay,
Sure.
Yeah, plus what we got as a bid last time.
right.
around.
That's just to
Which
show
is
that.
great.
Yeah, no, I can give you all those.
Okay.
Yep, I have those.
Alrighty, and just to confirm that we're gonna be zoomed as well, is that, right? So that's gonna all be,
Although it's not gonna be Zoom the first meeting because Joe had something to do.
okay.
But it was advertised, so you can't hold your meeting without any issues.
Wait a minute, I'm just checking.
Advertised for 2 weeks, so
Yes.
leading up to your meeting, you'll be fine.
So that is the 13th
Yes.
and it's 7:30 here in this building.
Is that something that like I could run the Zoom if like you gave it to me and like.
It's an IT question. Right, look right over.
Yeah.
You would have to do it with my laptop and everything else for the camera and everything.
Okay,
I mean, I'd rather not give up my laptop.
no, that's true. I mean, I don't,
I mean,
Your first meeting
if
might
if
not
I
be
was
Zoom.
notified a little sooner,
sure,
then a few days ago, I probably could have made it work, but.
yeah, okay,
Are you gonna have this meeting every second Thursday?
Yeah.
So
sure.
I
Well,
think
maybe not like
so I can
indefinitely, but
coordinate
like
it.
next couple second Thursdays, yeah.
it's gonna be like once a month, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll get you the code where the key is.
Oh. that'd be
Okay.
good. Thanks.
Usually I can make it work, but
Yeah.
I didn't know.
We'll go over a couple things you need to know.
I think that's it about that.
I know you mentioned before, but having been down there recently, the creek looks really nice with all the trash out of there.
It's been that way at least for a month.
Okay. Madam Vice President, about financing.
The-
Do you two want to, however you want to split the report up between the two of you?
I just was reporting about the liquid fuels and we know.
And he took it away from me.
So, that was my little movement in the.
Let me give it back to you,
That's
man.
right.
You don't like to hear that we got 105 grand.
Mine is that, John and I met with, the investment advisor. And the information that he provided, I'll give a full report next week about the, fixed income and how the, first quarter was for last year. I'll give a full report next week.
This is for the police pension fund,
Yes.
is that correct? Okay.
And the good news is I understood it better this year than I did this year.
She was so Brad what to invest in.
Anything else?
Didn't you say Dogecoin or
He
something?
didn't take mine.
Anything else?
Caroline and I had a conversation as far as continuing to improve communication. And we'll be continuing to, update that information. I met with John, but I don't have anything final at this
Okay.
time.
Sounds good. When do we have, just a question, when does our MMO come out,
Oh,
roughly?
well, we'll probably get towards the end of the summer, they tell us.
End of the summer?
when
Okay.
it's gonna be.
We have a very good idea though for this year because it's every 2 years.
Oh, is that right? I
Yeah,
thought it was
we
an
gave-
annual
we
thing.
gave-
Well, we pay it every year.
Yeah, we paid it.
but they-
Roughly
Oh,
45,000.
pardon me?
A rough number is 45,000.
Okay. That's, I remember a couple of years where it was like 180,000 when there
yeah,
was problems.
They did the actual.
Good. I didn't realize it was a 2-year I thought it was every year they did it. So it's a 2-year process.
But we did, like I said, we paid every year.
Okay. I'll go to the other side. Well, no, Mayor, what do you have?
I got nothing. General,
Any
general,
news about the 4th of July
general progress.
for your band performing? Avalon or not?
Yeah,
Have you heard back from the other guys? Who's our Woodland? Because I know you said they contacted you. Nothing yet?
yeah, everybody's good. They're looking to get out.
I have a minor update on 4th of July. We're on the 3rd, Clifton Heights. Congratulations to the new borough manager, Mr. Tom McCosy. They are doing full bore 4th of July Sunday on the 4th, which they normally did the last 2 cycles. When it was on a Sunday, they moved to the 3rd. And this was before the governor moved his restrictions. So they're doing a parade, which their parade's at 10 on the 4th. They're doing the after parade activities at the field and they're doing fireworks 100%. And I have reached out to Lansdowne and Collingdale for complete updates, but I didn't hear back because we share bands with them. Lansdowne was leaning to doing what we were doing, parade, no fireworks, which was a definite, and no after parade stuff. And Collingdale was leaning towards not doing a parade at all. And they were going to have a family picnic and family movie night at one of their parks, but that may have changed since the governor made his announcement yesterday. So I'll see if I can tag them down this week. But at the moment, I also called the few people that contacted me that we share. They haven't heard from any of those people either. So that's where we're at.
Since this was my time
Yes.
and all them parades I was aware of, Collingdale is looking to have a parade.
So they've changed their mind. Okay.
That was from 2 weeks ago. They actually reached out to me.
Okay. Good.
Clifton has changed their parade. I don't know why we're talking about all these other parades.
Well, because we share bands with them. on normally.
Understood. I
Right.
said I had general progress. The guys are ready to get out and go. And we will move on to the next committee man.
Okay. Steve. Okay.
I don't really have anything.
All right, one thing I would like to bring up, just so that people are aware, Mr. Tartaglia did go and have the first set of hearings on the 15th. Do you have any numbers from him, John, at all or not? He gave me a little bit of an update, but he didn't have any numbers
Numbers for.
in terms of the amount of money. And essentially, he went in front of the MD,
Oh, I don't have, no, I don't have. that
Mr.
yet.
Magistrate District
That'd be
Judge,
next week.
and they came to an agreement on every property except for 2 Springfield Road, where there were 10 citations for different things, and the district judge knocked it down to 2 and fined him $100 for each of those locations. So he's going again on the 13th, and by the time that meeting, that session is over, we will be caught up to the end of 2020 and a little bit into 2021. So we're getting close to being caught up on our citations. So I was happy to hear that.
That'll be in Joe's report.
Okay.
Joe, I'm sure you'll have that.
Any news? We have no further news on 2 Springfield on their demo either, do we?
Nope.
Okay. Mr. Amuso.
I mean, the main thing that, I'm working on recently is actually the 33 Providence stuff. I've been in contact with their attorney and keeping him apprised. I think it's safe to say they don't like that we're tearing down the building, so we might hear something from them at some point. And they could always file what's called an injunction request. You know, you can go to court and say, hey, please temporarily stop what's about to happen. But they haven't done that yet.
Mhm.
What property was that?
What?
What property?
33 East Providence, the one we're gonna demolish. And, you know, so if that happens, we're ready to react to it. It hasn't happened yet, but I'm in contact with him. I heard from him today. He said, oh, what did council do with their meeting last night? Meeting was tonight, and tonight's a caucus meeting. So nothing's gonna happen tonight. So they're already telling me we're gonna open the bids tonight, of course we did, but.
Okay. And that's where we have the grant deadline on top of us. I think was it by the end of June is when we had to act by.
The exact date, but you're close enough.
But
Yeah.
to be clear, you know, a lot of work has gone into this over the years, very detailed engineering reports. I mean, this is not a spur of the moment thing. This is not a, hey, we got a grant, let's do this. This has been going on for years. They've had ample notice. We've been trying to work with them for over a year now. And, you know, it's fine. Honestly, I think they're gonna be better off, right? They're gonna have a nice, clean piece of property in a well-managed town, in an area that's on its own. So that's what they're gonna like, building a lot out of it. But again, if they try to file something, we'll be ready to react to it. Maybe just doing the usual stuff to send out 30-day notice letters on the sewer and what's not working with Jerry. That's all I had.
Do you have a number of properties that you're aware of? How many are going out roughly? And just to back your statement, I know the council's been talking about that property for at least 5 years. And that's why they went for the grant, because they were not getting any satisfaction from the previous owner. And it was
most people in town-
deteriorated.
Most people in town do not want it to come down. It was a beautiful building.
It's one of the original houses along Providence Road there. It's a nice
It's not like
building.
we're in a hurry. We're in a hurry to get rid of the eyesore. We obviously wanted it fixed.
Yeah, I know. Well, we delayed this for a year because we were working with the new
You know,
owner.
It's a lot of promises.
So, can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
Just-
Sure.
You had made mention just a few moments, but that we're gonna tear it down. There's still an owner of the property itself. So we tear it down, they keep the property.
Correct.
We don't-
We're
we
not,
don't
it's not a
own the
take.
property.
Right.
Okay, understood.
But it's all lean.
Well, there's liens that they
Yeah.
have to pay off at some point, but this is not a situation we're not taking their land. This is something where the engineer has decided this is a dangerous structure. And so for the safety of the community, we're gonna tear it down, and now we have a grant to do that. But we're not taking the parcel.
I don't know, yeah, over the years, I don't know how I missed that part of it. I was just.
I mean, it's not ours.
No, I was under the impression we're tearing it down, the land is technically ours.
And as
It's
Mr.
lean,
White
so-
has said, we've been working to try and get them to save the property, and, you know, it hasn't happened, unfortunately. So
Talked to many a contractor.
I was in that house a lot because the gentleman that used to own it, his family owned it. It was a classmate of mine, so it was nice in there, very nice. Did you have just an idea on the
You
number
know,
of properties?
I mean, it's gonna be close to what Jerry reported last week, but I'll have an exact number.
Okay. Any other questions for the solicitor? I have one. What's the status with the governor lifting the restrictions but allowing municipalities and school districts to set their own?
So, I mean, I would say this, he certainly is saying that, and it's certainly something you're allowed to do, but I don't think there's any expectation that local communities are gonna continue restrictions. I think the idea there is he does want municipalities to have that power, but I think you're talking about someplace, if there's some huge outbreak somewhere, okay, and your local community can do something, but it's not something, I mean, I think his intent is that the state's gonna reopen on Memorial Day. So don't feel like you need to put in restrictions, and I think you would, something you could do that, but you want to think long and hard about it, because I think at this point, it's fine, it's the state's doing everything. You know, if we step in and try to do something, it just gets very complicated. I think, again,
It's
I
not like
think,
we have a stadium or anything.
right, exactly.
What's the status of the mayor's emergency order and the council's
So
the
that's-
support of
that's
that? How does
another-
that work?
That's interesting. So that's all been based really on the governor's original order and then the county's. So there's a governor's order, then the county's order, then there's the local order. The mayor's emergency order that affects how we meet, that ends on May 19th. Now I will try to get some more intel on whether he's gonna renew that, because they're two separate things.
Okay,
And I think, you know, because there's so much flexibility for local governments in that order, you might want to keep that up, because it at least gives us options. But what happens is it expires in 90 days unless renewed. And each time he has waited almost till the 88th, 89th day. So I'll have to figure out if he's gonna renew it, because he could easily say, listen, I'm opening things back up, we're getting vaccinated, but I'm gonna renew this one more time, just so that people have the flexibility they need to get through something. Because we're meeting in person, so it's a little different here, but a lot of places are still meeting via Zoom. And for instance, boroughs really couldn't meet by Zoom without the emergency order in place. So they're two separate things, but I'll try to get some intel whether it's gonna renew that.
other than reading the headlines and the synopsis, I know that is the mask mandate for indoors, or he's still keeping that, correct?
Yeah, he did say, you know, he's gonna, essentially, I think he's lifting all the capacity restrictions,
Mhm.
but masks will remain and the social distancing.
Until
I thought he went to 3
70,
feet.
until 70% of the people.
Until, what was it, until 70%?
70% of the people are vaccinated, then the mask.
But wasn't he going to 3 feet social distance?
I don't,
I did hear something about, I
I
don't
mean,
know
that's been the
whether that
school
was there in
thing.
Jersey.
I just heard it, that
Well, he just announced this yesterday, so I haven't had a chance to really dig into it. So, okay. So
But the
we don't
thing-
have to do anything about rescinding or lifting the mayor's order, or do we have to do a vote in June, obviously?
You know, it's all based on the things that happened before. I mean, if we need to take formal action, we'll take formal
Okay.
action.
So basically, do I have the bottom line on that? I can either extend it or lift it?
An option to, I mean, I think you initiated the proclamation, but it was backed by the council. I mean, look, it's your proclamation, so if you said you wanted to not have it, but then the council wanted to pass restrictions, and they might be able to do that.
Well, I think his emergency order it's inactive for 30 days, but
Right.
to extend it,
You have
council has to vote to support it, which is what we did.
Right.
And it's still in effect because basically the governor's been extending it all the time.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Any questions for the solicitor?
I have a question for.
Go ahead.
Were the Boy Scouts outside? Or they couldn't be-
They did, they were out,
They
they
were
were in the
across the
Alden
street,
lot,
they were
yeah.
in the,
Oh,
the church lot.
Right, because May 1st was a big day in
It
Alden.
was,
And I'm going to ask either Mr. White or I'll ask the youth club president, Mr. Caperna, to let us know how things went with the
I'm
with the
gonna-
opening and the parade and for the
I'm gonna
event.
report on that at council
Okay.
meeting.
But everything went well?
Everything went great.
Yeah, I actually plan on reporting that. next
Okay, good.
meeting.
We had probably.
People should mark on their calendar the 22nd for the Mayor Hopley dedication, right? We're all set for that?
we were all
For
set.
the, what do we call it? The James R. Hopley Athletic Complex.
Complex.
Yeah, okay.
I'll be in St. Louis.
I'll just give people an update. Thompson Track had their hearing, as I sent to you, thanks to Steve. He beat me to the punch. He wanted to watch the 3.5 hour. Mr. Musso is their solicitor. I'm not giving away any secrets. And The next meeting is scheduled for the 1st of June. Upper Darby has a very busy zoning hearing board. They've got special meetings and regular meetings. And I can let you know that this afternoon at 3 o'clock, our solicitor for that, Mr. Siegel, sent me the information. We finally, today at 3, got the material that was promised to be sent on Friday, the 23rd of April. So I will forward that to everybody to have a chance to look at it, because they have changed the plan. They now have engineering studies and traffic studies and things like that. So, and we will move on from there. We were granted party status along with Lansdowne and the Roselawn Civic Association. So that's where I think it's going to take to the end of the year because of all the witnesses and things like that. Yes. Yes, sir. I was going to say open to the audience.
Generally, is there really pretty much bipartisan opposition to this construction in the community?
Yes,
For the most
from the community members, yes. From a number of individual council members that I've spoken with in Upper Darby, yes. The Upper Darby Council decided not to take a position. And Lansdowne Borough and Aldan Borough have voted officially to oppose it because we are abutting municipalities and we have property that touches that tract. Lansdowne across the creek at Hoffman Park, and we at the end of Maryland Avenue and Willows Lane at the creek.
Now, let's go ahead here. Once this construction is kind of planned, they have to go through the Darby Creek Joint Authority to approval.
They have to get a sewer module to do the
That's
work.
right.
Yep.
If there is the, with the opposition, that tells me that we could stop this project by voting it down.
Well,
I-
it's, the process is that they're asking for a variance so that they can then go through the development process.
Right.
And then they have to go through planning. And then they got to get PennDOT approval and they got to get sewer modules. I mean,
And I
this
guess,
is the first step.
Now, eventually, we've got to approve it too.
I don't know how that works exactly. I just know they have to get a sewer module approved to handle this extra sewage that's going to come out of there.
Yeah, I mean, what they do is they present, every month we get a present of the projects that for approval and we vote to approve. So therefore, it sounds to me, and I'll talk to my folks at the Joint Authority when we next meet, that we could deny it and that would stop the construction. And I think Lansdowne's representative would be very, very willing to vote no to that. I know Gene well enough to know he's probably not happy about this either.
It's above my pay grade at that level. Okay, I don't know.
But I will bring that up
All right.
at the Joint Authority meeting.
I do have one other thing. Election day is in a little under 2 weeks on the 18th. Will be available in the morning before I have to go to work at 8 o'clock, and I will be available at the end of the day, hopefully, probably for an hour or so. I don't know if other council members
Oh, well, since we're going to talk about election day,
are going to be available to do.
I
that.
know I will not be available from about 5 o'clock on, and I believe Steve won't, because we got a ring mass for our kids because the kids got COVID and couldn't attend the regular ring mass, and they're doing it that night.
Okay, you're going back to that.
Yeah, like 7 or 8 of
What
them.
does that mean? You have 11th or 12th? What does that, is that 11th or 12th?
11, so
11.
next year is senior year.
What do the girls think?
They used to get it at the beginning of their senior year, but I think now they get them.
Yeah, they got-
Yeah, they did them. They did the boys in the morning and then the girls
They
in the
did them all
Nice.
together now.
But there was a COVID thing that went through the baseball team and all the juniors there.
And that's the only day they could do.
Yeah.
Just be sure to vote before you go, gentlemen. That's all I'm going to tell you. All I remember about ring day is you had to have the girls had to have their ring turned a number of
Yeah,
years,
the locket, right?
and their knuckles used to get
It was very
exploded.
short. Mine was 76 times. I'm so many, age, but that's what I had to do.
So
Oh, because of the.
it was the number of
Graduated.
years. So if you graduated in 74, you had to have 74 different people rotate your
76
ring.
people had to
So
turn my
21 is.
That's not too bad.
Yeah,
See how that
this,
goes.
my girls, they were 2005, 6, 8. They were living the dream.
I would
They-
encourage everybody to see if you can give up some time. I will also let you know that Upper Darby will be in the library again, just like they were last year. I got confirmation on that today. So, is
I
it?
just did the math on that. I don't want the day over. this.
That's very kind of you.
It's true. I'm very bad at age.
You were calculating.
Are there any other?
I really appreciate
I was
that.
born
I
in
feel so much
76.
better now. You know, I didn't get to lose
No,
my-
I was born
Any
in
other-
76.
Any other questions before we adjourn?
Uh,
Any
I
other
was
questions before we
18.
adjourn? Seeing none, we're adjourned until our meeting next week. Thank you, everybody, that's for participating. Take it with your